Math is used all around us, whether it comes from seeing Fibonacci spirals in pine cones, the golden ratio for our human body, or the probability of us winning the lottery. Instead of taking a minuscule approach to this project, we decided to think on a larger scale, using our lives as the inspiration to see what variables could be improved to make us happier for the next 82 years that we live on Earth. As math students, we thought, if math can be applied to our daily lives, why can't it be applied to the three things, money, time, and friends, that shape our overall lives, in order for us to be the happiest math students ever?
So, can money really buy you happiness? If we learn anything from our parents, it would be a large no to this answer. However, we must keep in mind that you can't live without it, and it may be a stressor to most. Therefore, we might ask, how can we use math to our advantage with this subject? As some of you may know, interest is the reward you get for keeping your money in a bank. For example, if you had $1,000 and you have 2% interest, then you would receive $20. Compound interest happens when you leave this additional $20 of interest in, and you get a higher return each year. This is hard to achieve since banks give out a very low interest rate, but it is a start to exponential growth, since that is what you would love to have. Now, what if I told you that more money could also make you meaner? A study by Paul Piff tested the hypothesis by playing Monopoly. The two players who were playing this game were university students at random, but one of them had an excessive advantage over the other in terms of money and opportunities. In this study, the richer player acted more dominant and became ruder to the other player. Moreover, they were more likely to showcase how well they were doing and eat the snacks they were meant to share. Finally, for money, I want to introduce time into this equation before switching into the topic of time. So if you had to guess which person is richer of these two choices, what would you say? Person A is an investment banker who makes $150,000 a year but works 80 hours a week. Or would you pick B, a mechanic that makes $40,000 a year but works 20 hours a week? What would you pick? Now, we must look at time, since if we don't have any free time, we won't be able to do the things that make us happy. Since we know the average lifespan of a Canadian is 82, we must imagine that we have 82 boxes left for the equation x plus y equals 82. Right off the bat, we sleep 1/3 of our lives, therefore we have roughly 55 years to play with. From age 14, when most of us received our first phones, if we spent a generous average of 5 hours a day on our phones, which many people spend more than this, it would be roughly 11 years of your life spent on your phone. This brings us to the number of 43.7. Now, consider you work a 40-hour work week for a job over 45 years, which is the typical Canadian average lifetime work expectancy, and you only have 4 weeks vacation per year. Given all of this, it is 9.9 years of your life. Right now, we are at 33.8 years left. So we should also take school into account, which has taken many years to graduate, and the school day is 6 hours long, which in our calculations is 1.7 years of our time. And for university, I went through our 2021-22 calendar and marked all the days that we have for school, including 4 days extra for exam studying. This totals 68 days in the first semester, 65 days in the second semester, which leaves us with 0.4 years of our lives spent in university. So school overall is 2.1 years of our lives, leaving us with 31.7 years. Moreover, medical complications are common after 70 and older. Therefore, you may not be living a free life that you wanted. Therefore, we will take off 12 years as our last component, making our final total 19.7 years. This doesn't take into account the time that you spent on cooking, cleaning, and other chores either. The purpose of this activity is to show you that we have a very limited time. Therefore, we must use this time to our advantage to do things that make us happier and live in the present moment. Now, what would you do if you were only told you had 19 years left to live?
Close, meaningful, and intimate relationships are inseparably linked with happiness and psychological health. Additionally, emotional states can be passed on directly from one individual to another by mimicry and emotional contagion. Over time frames ranging from seconds to weeks, people can catch emotional states they observe in others. Therefore, who you surround yourself with can make a difference on your level of happiness. An individual's happiness is dependent on the happiness of others in the individual's social network. If we look at social networks in graph theory, there are two elements: individuals, the vertices, and the relationships, edges between them. Once all the vertices and edges are known, a picture of the network can be drawn and every person's position can be determined within it. Within a network, there is distance between two people, the degree of separation, which is the shortest path in the network from one person to another. According to Fowler and Christiaks, the happiness of an individual is associated with the happiness of people up to 3 degrees removed in the social network. Happy people tend to be located in the center of their social networks and in large clusters of other happy people. The tendency to be positioned near the center of a local network is determined by the measures of centrality in networks. The count of the number of friends is the simplest measure of the centrality. Therefore, people with more friends will tend to be more central. Changes in individual happiness can spread through social networks and generate large-scale structure in the network, causing an increase of happy and unhappy individuals. It is not only the number of direct relationships, so at 1 degree of separation, but also the number of indirect relationships, at higher degrees of separation, that influence future happiness. If a directly connected individual is happy, a person is 15.3% more likely to be happy. The effect for a distance of 2 individuals is 9.8%, and for 3 individuals is 5.6%. Friends in close proximity who live within 1.6 kilometers and who become happy increase the probability of happiness by 25%. Thus, the better connected you are to your friends and family, the more likely you will attain happiness in the future.